Let's have a look at this side here. We have different tabs that will change these windows and give us some options. So at the moment we are on Media Library. This is the content that was imported today, but also you will have some other things that you would have imported in the past. We have the Editing tab. So if I do a left click on Editing, it will allow me to do some editing on the clip that is selected. So if I am this one is selected, I'm going to edit this one. If I have this one selected, it will edit this specific one. We also have the overlays. The overlays, it's data that is collected by the camera, like GPS coordinates, speed, and so on, and we can change all this. We'll get back to this later on. At the moment, we don't want any overlay, so we're going to click None, and the screen is clean. We can work on our transition as well between clips, the soundtracks for the music, put some titles. The G-matrix is the data collected, but the really interesting one that we want to use is a map, because we want to see where this camera was recording video. So if I do left click on Maps, it will automatically load Bing or sort of Google Earth, Google Maps. So we can see straight away that we have been walking with the camera. At the moment I'm using the Bing map. I can zoom out if I want to. We can see Darwin, but I can also use a satellite view. If I do a left click on satellite, I'm switching now to the satellite view. Because it was a short walk, it's probably better here to use the big map, but you can use the satellite view. It's pretty accurate. So I can zoom in and out here. Now that I know where the map is, I want to see the dots moving. So let's say I move my mouse over the timeline here, and then I can see the dots moving. So I'm going forward, I can see that I was walking around Litchfield Street, going backward there. So that's one way to move the dot, is just to move the timeline, the mouse over the timeline. And I can do left click a little bit on the top here and press play, and I can see the dot moving and the camera moving. The dot is moving on this side, the camera is filming, and we have this moving. I can stop it. I can also select the dot with a left click down, and I'm keeping my left click down, and I can then move the mouse backward and forward. So I can see the clips going backward and forward, and we can see the video. Same thing here. If I stop, I release my left click right in the corner here, release, and I can press play, and now I know I'm at the corner of the Cavendish Street and Litchfield Street. And I can pause. So very useful when you want to see exactly where this video was taken. You can do this with a little dot. We can also import some pictures. So I'm just going to do this to import a little picture in the middle here. So I'm going to go back to the Media Library on the left here, and I'm probably going to drag and drop this picture here that I like. So I'm going to drag and drop it in between. I can put it in between two clips, and I release. And here we are here. So it's probably time to talk a bit about the data collected by the camera. When the little funny shape here, up and down like a mountain, is like that, which is white, that means that the camera was correctly collecting data. The GPS was connected. The camera was connected to the GPS satellite and were receiving data. When there is a red cross in there, that means that the GPS camera wasn't connected to the GPS. Maybe it was too early when you turn it on, it didn't wait long enough, or maybe it's because you were under some trees and so on. So let's see if we can find, I'm just going to delete this, so it's a good way to see this. So I'm just done a left click to select this little clip here, and I'm going to press delete on my keyboard, and it's gone. So let's have a look at this specific clip here. The good way to see if there is if the camera was properly connected to the satellite is to activate some overlays. So we're just going to do a quick look at the overlay here, and I'm just going to do a click on overlay, and maybe I'm going to use don't know, the classic version here, or maybe the default one. It's probably a bit better here. So if I got the default one, left click, I've done left click on this, I can see I've got a bar here. We see my track, the date, and some other information like the elevation, the distance, and so on. So now if I start moving here, I can see. Okay, so what I've done here, I was in a building and I turned the camera on straight away. And because it was the first time I haven't studied the camera for a long time, it took it quite a while to get the satellite coordinate. So if you look at it here, if I stop right on this point here, I don't have any elevation, I don't have nothing, which means that the camera wasn't talking to the GPS properly, wasn't reading coordinate from the GPS properly. But if I look a little bit further, suddenly here, then I have some information. And it was some funny information at the beginning. Now I can see that I'm walking at 1 kilometer per hour, I'm at 171 feet high, and I know my bearings and so on. So now I know that from this point the camera is recording GPS information. So that's why it's very important that you start the camera early. You wait for the satellite, that it will be the satellite icon on the camera that will be flashing white. Once it's not flashing anymore, that means you got the coordinate, and then you can start recording. Don't do the mistake that I've done, which is starting the camera recording too early. So that's good. Now we've got GPS information. We still have it here, and here is good. And I think somewhere. So here it's the same. If I start here, this clip here, I did turn the camera off, so I don't have any information. If I play, no information yet here. It's talking to the satellite to get the satellite, and now we've got the satellite and we've got some other information. So really, before you start recording, wait for the satellite to be connected to the camera, and then we have some proper information. Let's have a look if we can add some picture now to our video. So going back to our media library, and same thing like for the video, I'm just going to select some pictures. So I'm going to select this one and I'm going to drag and drop it somewhere on the timeline in between. Very good. And probably in this big building here, right there. So if I'm going back to my map, I can now move on my timeline and I'm arriving. So I'm moving here, and I can see that this photo was taken at the beginning of the first video here, which was go to map. So I've selected. Don't forget to, if you want to click and lock the cursor, you have to click on the top here, not on the picture itself. So if I click here, it's good, but if I click on the little clip itself, it will change the channel. So I have to go back to maps, which is a bit annoying. So here we know that the picture was taken right here. So I was traveling around walking, and then the picture was taken. Keep on moving here, and this specific photo of the building was taken right here. It's quite useful, but we don't really use photos quite often on the when we're doing this.